Okay, we're looking at another reading comprehension piece on paper 1. And we are to read it carefully and answer items 39 to 46 based on what is stated or implied. More than a quarter century ago, we were forced to wrestle with the thorny issue of casinos and the supposed ills and benefits which flow from them. In the end, a sensible solution emerged: allow some to remain while controlling their growth. Interestingly, we may argue about casinos, but we have given the green light to arcades where people gamble day and night. Some Caribbean governments have seemingly opened the door to yet another round of possible emotional debate with the decision to allow cruise ships lying at anchor to operate their casinos in their waters. Is this move a prelude to opening casinos on land? Supporters of casino gambling have always said that casinos can and do function in a country without the moral decay that is routinely associated with them. Like most things, the pros and the cons about casino gambling are grossly exaggerated. Those who favor them argue that casinos on land should be seen as another attraction that can be added to the country's tourism industry if prudent controls are imposed. For example, the Bahamas, Antigua, Suriname, and Saint Martin are a few places where casino gambling is allowed, and tourism authorities in those places have said that casino gambling has proven to be a stimulus to their tourism sector without the moral decay that is routinely associated with them. Opponents, on the other hand, insist that casinos lead to gambling addiction, crime, and worse, a debasement of society. With everything else that is happening in our islands, an upsurge of gangs, drugs, and violent behavior among our youth, that's the last thing that we may need right now. However, the case of the cruise ships keeping casinos open while docked on shore may cause little, if any, harm to the country and its people, since few locals will have access to them. Let's face it, Caribbean people gamble at bingo to raise money for churches. They flock to the tracks to watch horses run and bet millions annually on the outcome of the races. Many play lotto daily and the English football pools weekly. So if, as some are saying, this move of allowing gambling on cruise ships in port may be the first step to casinos on land, then we will not be totally surprised. So let the debates begin. And this is an excerpt from Daily Nation titled, "Are Casinos Becoming a Reality?" So let us answer the questions. Some of them will be clear-cut. 31, casinos and their effect on society became an issue for the first time about? Yes, the answer is over 25 years ago, because in the passage it talked about more than a quarter century. A century is 100. A quarter of that would be 25. So more than over 25 years ago. Good. 40. How was the issue of casinos dealt with at the time mentioned? And it did say that they allowed some of them to remain open, and then their growth was monitored, and that was actually very clear-cut as well in the first paragraph. 41, interestingly, and this is line 3, we need a word to replace it, and our best option here is ironically, and it's because the situation is ironic. They talked about, we're going up to line 3, interestingly, we may argue about casinos, and so it's almost as if they're saying, we're putting a bad light, like a red light, on the casinos, but we're saying arcades where gambling is taking places. And so it's ironic that, casinos are being seen differently from places where gambling does take place as well. We're back at 42. given the green light to arcades, and if you give green light, I mean you're at the stoplight, green light means go. So if you're given the green light, it obviously means you have the permission to operate. And so that's what was ironic. We're seeing casinos as, okay, gambling places, and they're seeing as more negative than an arcade where it's almost the same thing that's taking place. And so that's what makes it ironic for question 41. 43, there were mentions of some Caribbean countries, and we want to know why they were mentioned. They were mentioned because it proves that these are places where gambling was actually allowed to happen, and it actually was good for their tourism. Yeah, and let's just confirm that they mentioned the names of these Caribbean places, and it is allowed. So it's twofold. We are stuck between two answers because these countries, it says that casino gambling is allowed, and it also says that there's proof that it is a stimulus to their tourism sector. And so we're a little bit, see, we're a little bit torn between C and D. So gambling is allowed, but it's actually casino gambling. So maybe we could use C as the stronger option, who knows? But we are torn between C and D because these two are actually very good answers. 44, an expression the writer uses to introduce an opposing view. Of course, we know opposing view is going against something you would have said or another view that would have been highlighted. And so we're looking for something that would show some kind of contrast. And so D would be the best option. In addition, would suggest that we are going in the same direction with the next statement. And so the best option would be on the other hand. So we mentioned something, we're going in a different direction on the other hand. 45, which argument below is not used to support casino gambling? Of course, we're looking for something that is going against. If we're not supporting it, we are going against it. So which one is actually saying gambling is not good? And of course, the obvious answer would be A. We're saying I'm not supporting casino gambling because it degrades the values of society. 46, to what does, that is the last thing that we may need right now in lines 18 to 19 refer. And they listed a lot of things that they were saying we don't need that right now, and they were trying to link it to, you know, if gambling, casino gambling was actually allowed. And of course, if we go back to the lines, we will see that they talked about the gangs, the drugs, and the violent behavior. We're at items 47 to 54, where it would appear that this is a letter to the editor, which means it's going to be conveying a lot of strong emotions. It's going to be very opinionated, and we will read the passage and try to answer items 47 to 54. The title says, Music Too Loud, I Can't Study. The editor, I just can't take it anymore. I just can't take the noise forced on me by a restaurant and bar located across the street. The noise is unbearable and I cannot concentrate on my studies. I am writing the CXC exams in May, June this year, and I must pass all my subjects. I am attending a reputable girls' school and I want to make good grades to get into the CAPE class. I work hard and every report so far indicates that I am an above average student. I want to make my mother proud. She is a hardworking woman, especially since my father passed away 2 years ago. We have been struggling to make ends meet without complaint. But I must complain now because the restaurant and bar is intent on frustrating my ambitions and the sacrifices my mother is making. I appreciate the help of the government in providing opportunities for education, but this is going to be futile unless it is possible to take full advantage of them. Can you imagine having to struggle with a math problem with thunderous noise bombarding your eardrums and everything in the house jumping up and down as if the place is haunted? Can you imagine speaking to a classmate about homework and you can't hear each other? Can you imagine stuffing cotton in your ears in order to get some sleep? Can you imagine trying to explain to your teacher that you didn't do your homework or that you sleep in class because of the noise coming from the restaurant and bar? The noise coming from this place is a serious obstacle that I am unable to overcome, and I am seeking help in dealing with it. Can you imagine my mother and her 16-year-old daughter going to this place in the midst of riotous drinking to ask them to turn down the music because I want to study or just to get some sleep? I understand that residents have been calling the police, but the response has been ineffective. At the moment of writing this letter, Sunday 19 at 9:30 a.m., they are blasting away after going late into last night. Under the guise of carnival, they will continue their merciless onslaught. From Carnival Friday night right up until Ash Wednesday morning, they will continue non-stop. There will be total madness. And this is a letter from Newsday. Music too loud, I can't study. So now it's time to answer the questions. Line 1, I just can't take it anymore. What does this imply about the writer? This writer is obviously, yes. Maybe she's at the point of crying, but the writer is hurting, definitely hurting. 48, the effect that is created by the repetition of I in the first paragraph. She kept saying I, can be best described as highlighting the writer's what? Of course, frustration. Yes, in a sense, this writer is protesting. They're writing a letter in protest, but the writer is obviously hurt and frustrated. Best answer. 49, which of the following language devices does the writer use most in paragraph 2 to explain her plight? And if you recall, she asked a lot of questions, not questions that she expected to be answered, but questions that already had an answer because they are rhetorical. 50, which of the following words best conveys the emotion that the writer is seeking to arouse in the reader? So as the reader, what are you expected to feel because of what she's expressing as a writer? You're supposed to feel empathetic towards her. You're to feel like you can definitely see and feel her pain. And so you would be concerned just as she is. 51, the sentence, I work hard and every report so far indicates that I am an above average student, and this is line 5. What does this suggest about the writer? Well, of course, it does suggest that she wants to continue working hard. She wants to continue getting good grades. So yes, it would be that she wants to sustain the good performance that she already has. 52, jumping up and down as if the place is haunted. What device is that? What literary device is that? It is in fact some kind of exaggeration, also called hyperbole. Nothing else would be best suited for this. It's more of course we know that, the place wouldn't be haunted, but she wanted to really exaggerate and really try to get us to understand how bad the situation is. So yes, 53, what effect does the writer achieve when she says, can you imagine my mother and her 16-year-old daughter going to this place in the midst of riotous drinking? Now, this one is a little bit tricky, but what effect is she trying to achieve when, if you picture a mother and her daughter, remember, she's underage, so she's not supposed to go into the bar. She wouldn't be allowed to drink or even enter the bar. So just knowing that the mother and her daughter going there just to beg them to, you know, be considerate. What effect does that create? And in a sense, I like C because, of course, it would take some kind of courage. I mean, they would have been frustrated too, but they would have been brave enough to go there to at least try to get some peace. I don't think it would make us surprised or that we would scorn them. But the effect, I mean, you can think that in their action of going to the bar, that they would probably be criticized for going there, because of course they were going not to support, but to try to get them to stop or at least reduce the terrible effects that their music was having on them. And so I can safely say that for them to go there, yes. As the reader, I think I would admire them in a sense for being brave enough to do that, but I do think that in the end, it may lead to some form of criticism because they are, in a sense, invading, not supporting the actions of the bar. But I'm torn between A and C. I do prefer C as my choice because as the reader I felt, wow, they are brave for wanting to go there to share their concern. 54, the last line of the passage expresses the view that what's going to happen because it's carnival time, it is expected that the noise will not get better at all. There will be no improvement in this noisy situation. So yes, that would be the answer for 54. One of the final things you will see for reading comprehension paper 1 English A is an image. It could be an advertisement, it could be a chart, a diagram, but we are instructed to look at the advertisement for this particular one, items 55 to 60. We're looking at it, we're reading the information presented on the advertisement, and then we will answer the questions that follow, and that will conclude the end of paper 1. This one is about joining our Caribbean Miles program. It's about earning Caribbean Airline miles with every flight, and you can fly, drive, shop, and you will earn miles even faster. They have described what the membership is like, how you are eligible for a silver membership, and what makes you qualify for an executive gold membership. And that all depends on the amount of miles that you would have. And it breaks down the silver tier membership and the gold tier membership. It talks about the credential and of course what you earn or what you qualify for under those memberships. Also, it talks about destinations, what awards you can get, and the amount of miles that are needed to go to a particular destination. There is an asterisk. It's almost like a fine print just to give you a little explanation of what they mean by South America. And towards the end of this diagram or chart or advertisement, it tells you thank you. It gives you a website. It tells you that you can call, and there's also an email address that can be used to make contact with the company. Feel free to pause the video and examine the advertisement for yourself. Let us answer the questions. Number 55, what does this airline promise if a person joins the miles program? And this was pretty much given from the beginning. It says that you will actually get rewards each time you fly. It says that, you know, when you shop, you can actually get rewards as well. But it does say joining the program gives you rewards each time you fly. 56, how many bonus miles does a silver tier member receive? And it helps to go back. If you're a silver tier member, it does say, let me go up a little bit, you get 3,000 miles bonus once you attain silver tier. And so the answer would be A. 57. To which of the following destinations can a person fly if you have 25,500 airline miles? And that would be, we can go and check, but that would be North America. You have 25. Here we go. It would be between the Caribbean, South America, and North America. So there we go. We can go to North America with those. Okay, number 58, and it says according to the advertisement. If you're a prospective member, you want to join, but you need more information about the benefits of the program. Obviously, it's not going to be to join the program or to just start flying frequently. How do you get information about this program? Well, the three options given on the advertisement was to call, visit the website, or email, and therefore the best answer here would be to visit the airline's webpage. 59. Which technique does the advertisement use to appeal to travelers to join the miles program? Technique, what is being used to really get people to think, wow, I want to do this? Is it the use of facts, opinions, persuasive language, or personal experiences? And it really is about facts. A lot of things that were said were factual. They broke things down for you. They gave you data, they gave you raw data, truthful data to really make you see how it really works. And then, of course, you can feel like this is something you would want to do. Number 60, the main purpose of the advertisement is to encourage persons to do what? Of course, it's to become members of the Miles program. All this because they want people to join. And so this is the end of paper 1, 2016, English A. Thank you for watching.